Hello everyone, welcome to this part where we're gonna finish the all out stuff with the provider we have. So right now we have done the Facebook one, and now what I would like to do is doing almost the same thing but for the Google one. So because right now, as you know, what's gonna happen for now, what we can do, it's click continue with Facebook, take this token, doing a post request to the V1 API V1 customer, pass the provider as Facebook in the token, and now at least we can receive the value from Facebook. Now what are we gonna do? We're gonna do the same thing for Google. So my plan now is to take everything here, so Command A, Command C, go inside alt provider and create a new file called Google. Just paste. We're gonna remove the field, and for the base URL, the URL is gonna be this one right there. I'm gonna give you here inside a string googleapi.com userinfo v2.me. After that, here inside the alt async, we're gonna just change this to just be base URL, and after that, here they need to receive some headers. So you can pass header like that. It's really easy with Axios. And one header need to be called authorization because they need to receive a bearer token. So they have like a GWT way right there. So here, just pass the token you receive right there. After that, at the bottom, just change Google here and here, and you can save. So that's it for Google. So go inside your index.js, inside the alt provider, Shift Command D to copy paste this line, Command D to select the second one, sorry, and like that. Now if we jump back to the customer controller, here we say if the provider equal Facebook, we do this. We're gonna create an else if the provider equal Google. I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna change this Facebook to be Google, and I'm gonna send back the same thing. And just for make sure, else here I would like to raise that status 400. You can just send status 400 for now. So they're gonna just send a status, that's it. So now if we jump back to Postman, we can now pass a provider called Google. But before that, make sure you start your server with yarn dev and pm run dev, and you should see Mongo running and server listen. Perfect. So inside Postman, now we're gonna pass Google as the provider. So now if I send, we receive token is a required field, because remember, yup, right there told us it's a required field. So we let the user know. So for the Google, now we're gonna need to log inside the application, the mobile one, and click on continue with Google to receive the token. So click continue here, and after that, for me, I'm gonna click on mine. Maybe you're gonna need to enter it. Take the token, copy paste this one inside Postman, and now click send. And you see, this is what we receive. Just by doing this, we receive that stuff. So we receive the ID, email, two things we really need. We receive given name with the value of the first name, family name is the last name, and we have the picture which can be used now to do the avatar URL. But if we open this stuff, so the same thing as this one, but what I'm gonna do, sorry, I'm gonna go to raw JSON, I'm gonna paste it there. So here that's gonna still be the same thing, but it's just because I want to go back to the Facebook one. So this is my Facebook. So this is what we receive when we do Facebook. So you can do the same, like I show you, you do the same with Facebook, copy paste your token. It's just because I don't want to show you my credential. So you see, this is what I received from Facebook, this is what I received from Google. Both stuff are pretty close, but they are not the same. So that's why I decided to create a function inside my customer called build customer info.js. So this function, nothing more than just taking the information plus the provider and just manage the returns object to be the way, like to be a single way, like the same for both. So this one here, you're gonna need to receive info, and you're gonna need to receive a provider name. That's gonna be an arrow function. Here, what I'm gonna do, the way I like to do this kind of stuff here, it's I'm gonna create I call that a plain object. What I mean by that, it's I'm gonna pass every field, and I'm gonna show you why I do this after that. So every field we need for the model. So if you don't know what I mean, it's this field we have put yesterday. So email, first name, last name, avatar URL, provider, it's an object, we take a UID and a type. Why I do this? It's because, man, you know, in JavaScript, your worst nightmare is the undefined stuff, and that's mine too, and that's why I don't want it. So what I mean by that, it's at least if I try to get some element from this function after that, at least that's gonna be an empty string. So the value that's gonna fail in the gonna be bad, but at least don't gonna crash. So that's why I do this. So I'm gonna start with the Google one because it's gonna be the easier one. So if the provider name equal Google, we're gonna do some logic. It's gonna be really simple. So the way you do this, it's you just check back this element and you just check the value you need. So for the Google, I'm gonna just copy because it's a lot of stuff. So here for the provider user ID, we have the info ID. Provider type, we're gonna use the provider name. For the first name, that's gonna be the given name like I show you. Family name, we're gonna give us the last name. Email, avatar URL, that's gonna be the picture. So this is what we need for the Google part. For Facebook, we're gonna have a bit more to do. Facebook don't have first name and last name. They have just a plain name. So the way I have handled this, it's first thing, what we can do is just, again, sorry if I copy paste and you don't like it, it's just because I want to go really quicker. So here, the first name like that, and finally, the provider like this. So this is the value we can at least get from now. So as you see, it's really simple. You just take the info you have there and you just merge it with the, not merge it, but just put this inside the object you have created. But for the first name, well, people, so finally, just because I want to show you some basic JavaScript stuff to do the first name and last name, so really simple. That was example the name we get from the role from Facebook right there yesterday. So what I decide to do, it's for getting a first name and a last name, we can create an array. Oops, we can create an array with this name. So we say we split, and we split on each white space. Just by doing this, for example, if I say R and I console log this stuff, what's gonna happen is we're gonna get an array of all three names because you see they have all space. With destructuring, you can also destructuring an array. I don't know if you know it, but you can do first name. If I do first name like that, and now I console log first name, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna just get the first element because you see that follow the pattern. So example, if I say B and C and I give you B and C, now we get each of the name, each of the word get is a variable. The way you can handle this to the last name to be both, it's just by doing the spread. So you say last name. So what you say, it's I want the first value to be first name, and the rest I want him to be called inside a variable called last name. So now if I say last name, now I'm gonna receive an array because it still be an array of this stuff like that with both elements. What we can do for resolve this is just saying last name, and because it's an array, we can join. So if we join just like that, what's gonna happen? It's now the last name gonna become a string. But you see here, they don't have a space. The only thing you need to say is, hey, when you join, the only thing you need is to put a space. So finally, think about like you replace the comma with a space. And now if I run it, I get first name and last name the way I would like. So if we jump back to the code, what we're gonna do, it's inside Facebook here, we're gonna do the same stuff. So we're gonna take that from the info.name, and I'm gonna split with a space in the middle, and here I'm gonna get the first name and last name. If you don't know where I get the name, is this stuff here, info.name. After that, here, what I'm gonna do, it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm gonna say user.firstName equal first name, and user.last name, this one's gonna be a bit more complicated, last name that join. Remember, if you put no space like that, no space gonna happen. But if you want space, this is the way. Perfect. And now finally at the end, don't forget to return the user. So just we build the user with the value we want and the name we want. So now for testing this stuff, what we can do, it's if we go back to the controller, we can, what I'm gonna do, it's example, we're gonna test both. So the way, just for testing, we're gonna say customer and just say build customer info. I don't have the autocomplete, so don't worry, I'm gonna import it. So build customer info, so import from build customer info, we need a function build customer info, and here I'm gonna return the same, and I'm gonna change that here for customer. So here just for testing purpose. So just to keep this value there, I'm gonna just go inside this one, I create a new one, change this to be a JSON, paste the Facebook one, just take the URL back, and now I want to send and receive what I have. So as you see, this is the object we have just built. So for the Facebook, email, first name, last name, avatar URL provider, looks like it worked. And for the Google one, email, first name, last name, perfect, avatar URL. So now you see both objects are the same now. So now what we can do to create the customer and to make sure that if the customer log with Facebook today but log with Google next week, how we can manage it. So I was thinking about this, okay? So first thing, yes, we're gonna use Passport for the GWT stuff. So Passport gonna handle us, the GWT and blah, blah, blah. But for I was thinking about why not connect the stuff ourselves, because I don't think it's kind of complicated, but it's kind of, I'm not sure if this is the best way. So my way I'm gonna do it, as you know, both stuff, the customer gonna have the email, okay? So Facebook have a certain email and they have verified at 100% the email of the user almost. Google, it's the same. They have the email and they have verified it. So what that means is if the user on Facebook have the email of this and the Google user had this email of this, I'm really pretty sure then this is the same user. I don't think a company with billion of dollars are gonna make a bad kind of authentication. So I just think why not use this kind of way to just check if the user exists. And after that, just add the other provider to it. So what I mean by that, gonna make more sense when we're gonna start to build it. It's now we're gonna jump in the customer.js here. So here that's gonna be the logic while we can add it's like the glue between the mongoose and the controller. So it just, the controller control the stuff coming from the front end, and this stuff here is where we build stuff. So the way I'm gonna handle that is I'm gonna create a function called get or create customer. That's gonna be an async function, and we're gonna receive info and provider name. After that, if you go back to your customer controller, you can copy this line and go here and paste it right there. I'm gonna just call that customer info. It's gonna make more sense. Here after that, I'm gonna need to import this stuff. So build customer, but also I'm gonna need to import, customer from the model. I want to have my model customer. After that, here I'm gonna create a try catch, because that's gonna be an asynchronous function, so a lot of error can happen. So the way I'm gonna handle this, one second, I need to take some water. Thank you. So here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a customer with an underscore. Why I do this? It's for me. I mean, it's when I get stuff, I always put an underscore, and when I create stuff, I always do this without an underscore. I don't know, it just but you can change variable name. Don't worry here. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get to the customer and I'm gonna do a find one. So customer that find one. So find one is just find one document, no more than one, who meet the condition we pass. And because we know email gonna be unique, we're gonna put it after that. Or why not put it right there? So we can just say unique true. And one thing also we can add before I forget, is just add the email as an index. So this way it's gonna be faster. It's gonna be faster for Mongo to get the email, because you're gonna put the index in memory. So now here, what I want to do is I want to say email need to be equal to the customer info dot email, like that. If I have a customer, one second. If I don't have a customer, so that means the customer don't exist yet, we're gonna create it. For the creation, it's gonna be really simple. The way we're gonna handle this is we're gonna say const customer, and now you see, don't see, so I can create that, or you can even call that user. So I'm gonna just call that customer. I'm gonna say await customer.create. Here what I'm gonna pass is I want to pass all the user info. Not user info, but customer info. But the thing is, if I do this, I'm gonna get the provider in an object. And if you look back in your model, this needs to be a string, an array. So the way I've handled this, okay, so why not destructuring? What I mean by that is, if you see customer info, and here I say provider, and here after that I say dot user info, what's gonna happen is this user info now gonna have all the value without the provider. So for you, if you want to see how that's gonna work, is this way. We have example user with the first name Emmanuel, so me, and a last name EQuimper. If I console log my name, we're gonna get this like that. But if, example, I destructuring my first name from user, if I destructuring my first name from user, it's gonna make more sense if I have at least 3 things. This way, if I console log first name, I get it perfect. But if I console log the rest, example, this 2 thing gonna be only all the other stuff without this thing. So example, that can be a really good idea when you want, example, to kind of delete a value from an object. So now you make sure that this rest have just both value who it's not inside this here example. So example, if I say country here and I say rest, now rest is going to be just last name. This is one of the reason, example, I call that also rest, and I even think the name it's rest operator just say like give me the rest of the stuff. So now, by doing this, user info, it's everything else than provider. And now we can say provider is going to be an array of provider, like that. Now, only thing we need to do is just say return customer. So the create gonna create it, save it to the DB, and create the customer. Now, time to do the kind of connection stuff. So maybe it's not the best way. You can tell me in the comments, but don't be too hard on me. I just think it's for me that would be a way I will maybe check, but yeah, maybe not the best one. So the way I handle this is I will say I will create a function called provider exists. So this way we already almost know that's going to be kind of a boolean stuff. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the customer. So underscore the one with the get provider, because now it's an object. Provider, it's an array, so I can do a find. Here I'm going to get an element. So this element is going to be each provider item. Here I want to check if the element that UID it's equal to the customer info that provider that UID, and L that type it's equal to customer info that provider that type. So if we look at the code, remember, okay, that here when we get to this line 20, that means the user is already have been logged to the website, so to the app. So that means for sure, at 100% sure, he have already at least one provider, and this is not the provider we have provided. This is the provider we have provided. I mean, sorry. So here, that's why we check. So if you log with Facebook. If you log with Facebook example and I find you, I just want to make sure that you have logged with Facebook before. If yes, now I'm gonna just let you go, nothing more. But if you log with Facebook before, but now you log with Google, I want to check if the provider was Google. No, okay, but I know it's still you. I just want to add the provider to you. So this way you can add the ID and stuff like that from here. So here what we can say is if the provider exists, we're gonna just return a customer. That means we don't need to do any more stuff. But if it don't exist, I want to push this to your provider array already. So customer info dot provider, and at the end, not at the end, I forget something. We need to save it now, because if you don't, that don't gonna persist. So I'm gonna return customer like that. I don't think the code is too much complicated, so let me know if you like this way. But now the thing we need to do now is just go back to the controller, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a data variable here, and I'm gonna remove all this stuff. I'm gonna remove that and remove this. Now I can remove this build provider, but now what I'm gonna import, it's from my customer, and the function gonna be the get or create customer. So now if I have the data, I get it, else here we do this stuff, so that's gonna return, and I even think that's gonna stop the code here. I'm gonna do a return. But I really think, yes, I really think that's gonna stop. And now here, what I can do is just say const customer equal await get or create customer. You pass the data, and you just need to pass the provider. Because remember, the get or create customer, I'm gonna get the provider name, gonna build a customer, and after that we do the logic. And at the end, now we can say res at status 201 because we created. And I'm gonna say customer. Maybe not 201, but 200. 200 gonna be okay. Now time to test it. So the way I'm gonna do this, it's like that. So I'm gonna send with Google, and I'm gonna cross my finger that work. Now we get that is not defined, so it's already bad. And I think I know why, because I say data, but that will be so I find my mistake. And how I did that, it's first thing inside this customer controller, I just console log the data right there, and I receive stuff, so I know that was going at least from there. And after that, when I check back here, I was, oh, okay, I maybe know why. The bill customer, I passed data, but that was info. So sorry for my mistake. So now if we send, provider is not defined because it's provider name. And now if we do, boom, now I create a user. So now a tool called MongoDB Compass can be used to see your stuff inside your database. So if I go to my database, right there, this is the install one. So I'm going to make it a bit bigger. So here we see we have one document. If I open the customer, here I have my object, EQuimper, I have my avatar URL, I have my ID, my email, blah, 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 and I have my provider right there. Also I have the created app, update app. If you don't know from where that came, it came from the model because of the timestamp true right there. So you see this is the value. So now if I try this with Facebook, the plan is I don't want to create a new user. I want to still use this user, but just add the provider. So now if I send, boom, now you see we receive back this value, and inside that you can refresh from here. We have now Facebook as a provider. So first time you came, no provider allowed, you log with whatever, I create a user. Second time you came, I find you, I know you have came with a provider, but I don't know yet which one. So this is how I do this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. The next one is going to be about adding passport with GWT and trying this this stuff we just did without the use of Postman, but just with the mobile side. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're gonna talk in the next one. Bye everyone.